Hi guys, so today I will be talking about New Moon, and this is just the #1 New York Times bestseller by Stephenie Meyer, and I just want to show you guys what the book looks like. Sorry, I've had this book for a while, so I pretty much know everything that is to know about the book, so that's why it kind of looks like a little damaged, but I've had this book for like a long time. I want to show you guys what the book looks like. So over here it just says New Moon by Stephenie Meyer, and then I will get into what the pages look like a little bit later on. Like I said, I've had this book for a while, so I do apologize for the way it looks, but this is just the second book in the Twilight series. So for any of you guys who have never read Twilight before, I suggest you read it before you read this one. But there is 4 parts to there's 4 parts to it. So it's Twilight, New Moon, or my bad guys, it's 5 parts to it. But it's Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn Part 1, and then Breaking Dawn Part 2. But the last 2 is like combined in a way, but it's just 2 separate books, and also it's 2 separate movies too, so that's why I'm going to count it as like a 5-part thing. But like I said before, this is just the second book in the Twilight series. If you live on planet Earth and you don't live under a rock, you guys have probably heard the name Twilight. If you haven't, it's okay, but you've probably been familiar with something about vampires and biting each other. That's probably has something to do with Twilight. So basically, I'm just going to give a quick synopsis about what this book is about, but I'm just going to talk about the first book just a little bit, just to give you guys like a little like background story, just in case you are interested and have never read this one before, or never read the first one before. But basically the 2 main characters are Edward Cullen and Bella Swan, and Edward is a vampire and Bella is just a normal human being. She falls in love with Edward, and this is the first the first book, by the way guys, but she falls in love with Edward, and yeah, they fall in love, they have complications, but still in love, still love each other. Well, in this book, she goes through a lot of trials and tribulations. She doesn't get to be with Edward for a little bit as she would hope. Something happened within their relationship, and I'm trying not to give the whole book away because I really do want this just to be a little teaser. But yeah, she finds herself a little bit, I would say, in this book. She strengthens her relationships with a couple people, and yeah, I really think this book is really about her finding herself, and I don't want to give away whether she still ends up with Edward or whether she doesn't, but I really think this book is definitely important to Bella's growth and who she is as a person aside from Edward, because I think a lot of these books you kind of see them together or who they are, or them as a couple, but them individually, she really becomes her own person in this book. And so that's why I really do, this is this is my second favorite out of the whole series. This book, honestly, even though it looks so big, guys, it's an easy read. The words are they're kind of spaced apart, so it is a pretty easy read. Something else that I really love that Stephenie Meyer did with these books is at the end of each book, she gives a preview to the next book. So in Twilight, there was a preview to New Moon, and in New Moon, there's a preview to Eclipse. These books, honestly, this is just I remember when I was in middle school, and that is when Twilight first came out, and this is when portable DVD players were a thing, and I remember my mom was like, I do not want you watching Twilight, you're too young. And I remember taking the portable DVD player and watching Twilight, and these are just books that like I feel like I grew up on as a teenager, and I never missed a movie. Every time a new movie came out in theater, I was seeing it. Like the opening day, oh, I'm there to see Twilight. Like it was like a very very big fascination growing up with our generation. And even like books like these, I feel like it's just something that like you can read over and over again. I got New Moon, I think, when I was like a freshman in high school, and that's when I got all the other books aside from Twilight, because I already had Twilight. I got this, and I've read it like so many times. It's just a book that like you just want to read the series again, because the book details so much more that I feel like the movie doesn't in ways. So it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, like it's a part of your childhood and you don't want to let it go. Like if somebody offered me to watch High School Musical again, I would again. So I definitely love watching Twilight over and over again, and I love reading it over and over again. Also too, if you guys are in a romance, it has a little bit of wittiness to it, a little bit of like comedy in it, like slightly. Like I really do love all those parts to it too. And just reading it, you really find yourself envisioning what's happening, and just having the movies to align with it, it really gives you something to like look forward to after you get done reading the book. So like I said, guys, if you've never been introduced to the Twilight series, I highly recommend it, and especially New Moon, one of my favorites out of the whole series. But yeah, like I said before, this is just New Moon, and this is the #1 New York Times bestseller by Stephenie Meyer. And it's very inexpensive, guys, especially now. So if you haven't read it, I suggest you should read it.